Hey, good morning. It's Dr. Shazetta. I am bringing you along for some of my morning routine this morning, not all of it. One of the first things I do after I get dressed in the morning is I come downstairs and I open the windows, well, pull the curtains back so that we get the sunlight. And then I light my incense for the day. So I like to light incense at the beginning of each morning. I do two in my living room space and I do one in my kitchen area. I'm gonna do the same one. Usually I do a different fragrance or flavor in my kitchen than I do in my other living spaces. But today I am going to do the same. This is frankincense right here. Can you see that? This one's frankincense. I think this is one that my husband picked up. Typically when I go to India a couple of times a year, I will, on the way out, there's a little shop in the airport in Cochin, and I always just stock up on incense while I'm waiting on my boarding time. So I've still got a lot because I've been to India twice this year. So I've still got, well, twice in 2024 and it's still early 2025. So I've still got a lot. And I'm thinking about going back in May and again in November. So I'm not going to run out of incense, but what I might do is look for some of the other little local shops in the neighborhood. So I'm going to light my incense. This is a way of me centering myself and really honestly offering my day back to God. Scripture talks about the burning of incense in many places. So I let them burn a little bit and then blow it out. Then I put it in my little incense box that needs to be cleaned out for sure. In the other side over here. I'm not sure if you're supposed to burn two, but I very much enjoy burning two. You see my box back there? So there they are. And I'm gonna go to this is the place where my incense kind of sits in its little box right there. This is my pretty shelf. I call it my pretty shelf. My camera strap shouldn't be hanging down like that, but it's kind of where I display lots of things that make me happy. The bottom shelf is just storage, so disregard that. But from this one up, this is the shelf that brings me great joy. So in the kitchen, I just light it on the stove. I don't have a lighter in here, and there's no need because I've got fire on the stove. Again, let it burn a little bit. Let it burn. Look, there we go. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Then this incense holder here, I'll dump my ashes at the end of today from yesterday, and that one kind of just sits right there till it burns out while I make my breakfast and my chai and all of those things. Excuse all the stuff on the cabinet I did Trader Joe's run the other day, and I've not put these things away. Typically this time of morning, my son is getting ready for school, or we're getting my son ready for school and to get out, and I'm not able to start this portion of my morning routine often unless I get up way earlier. And many times this portion comes after he's already ready for school. He has his breakfast, and sometimes after he's gone. But this morning he's down with a bit of a fever, and so he is staying home, and so I'm able to get up and get my morning routine kind of done. So the next thing that I do is I make my cup of chai, the traditional Indian way. So I thought that I would show that you all, well, I say traditional Indian way, it's the way that I was taught in India. And so I thought I would bring you all along for this part of the journey. You can see it's about a cup and a half of water. Putting it on to boil. While that's boiling, I'm going to get my spice mixture or spice blend taken care of. And so I start with, and just for the record, that's just spices in the bottom of my cup. I start with 3 cardamom pods. You see those 3 cardamom pods? Here they are. Getting out of focus a little bit. See if we can get them. Well, anyway, that's 3 cardamom pods. Just put them down the cup. Got those there, right? I have 2 cloves. I have like a half a little stick of cinnamon. So I'm gonna turn this tracking lock off. Half a stick of cinnamon. And about a thumb's worth of ginger. And I put all of that together in the cup to get a mortar and pestle officially. So if anybody wants to send anyone, you can. And then I just kind of break them all up. Here, I just take my very long rolling pin. Excuse the noise. Make sure that I crush my cardamom pods in particular, because all the good stuff is inside the seeds. Alright, got that crushed up really good. Smells amazing. I'll show that to you. That's what that looks like once it's all crushed up. My water should be just about beginning to boil now, so we've got those bubbles. I'm gonna go ahead and drop my spice mixture in there. Make sure I get it all out. Stir my tea with a wooden spoon. So I'm just gonna take it. You can hear that sizzling and you can feel that heat. Let's slide this over. Let's bump that heat down. That shouldn't be up on high. It should only be up on about medium heat. All right, let's stir those spices. We're gonna give those a minute just to come to boil. Our water is coming to a rolling boil, and so now I'm going to come here to add my tea. Now this is a tablespoon, so I'm gonna add probably one of these, maybe just a little bit more. I don't want it to be bitter, so maybe 1 1/4 tablespoons. All right, and I'm going to stir that again immediately. And I'm gonna let it come again to a boil. It's coming to a boil already, and I wanna cool it so that my tea doesn't burn. And so I'm gonna add about equal parts milk until I've got kind of that golden chai color. A little bit lighter maybe. All right, the golden chai color. I'm gonna give this another stir. I'm going to let that come to its first boil, right? Its first kind of foam. So while I'm waiting on my chai to boil, some folks may be wondering why I'm drinking chai instead of coffee. So I do drink coffee. I love coffee. And when I am just doing my own thing and not being as intentional as I should about my health, coffee is my go-to morning drink. One, because it's super easy and I love it. But when I am settling myself to set into more of a intentional morning routine, the process of making chai slows me down, helps me set my intentions for the morning, but also chai is healthier for me. So I'll share like a screen grab in a few minutes to show you kind of the health benefits. But for me, chai is anti-inflammatory. It aids in my digestion. And it's a slower release of caffeine throughout the day. It also serves as kind of an appetite suppressant for me. A lot of caffeine does for some folks. Coffee, they use black coffee when they're doing weight loss. Chai is a better kind of a slow release caffeine for me. And so I'll share kind of just a quick Google benefits of Indian chai. And it's the reason that I drink it. If I want or need caffeine a little later in the day, I will add coffee maybe. All right, let's look at this boiling. Okay, so it's beginning to come to a boil. I gotta be really careful because I gotta let it come to the top and then not let it boil over. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, turn it off. Okay, turned it off. All right, so that's the first boil. All right, while it's going back down, I'm gonna kick this heat back up to super high. After it settles, I'm gonna let it come to its second boil, all the way to the edge of the top. And then I'm going to turn it off. Now, while it's settling, I'm gonna add my sugar. So I very much enjoy a sweetened chai, and my preference is to use raw cane sugar in it, but I don't have raw cane sugar. I've got white sugar today, so that's what I'm using. So I usually go in with about 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar. This is a tablespoon. So I'm gonna do 1.5 of those, just because I do prefer, not even 1.5, 1.25. I do prefer a sweeter chai. So got that in. I'm going to stir that sugar in while this tea is still piping hot. Enough for it to just come down to a smooth, get all that grit out. All right, now comes probably the most fun part for me, but it also requires both hands, so hang tight. All right, so this for me is one of the most enjoyable parts, but it's also kind of a bit of a tedious part. It's a little dark in here. I wonder if I can give you guys some more light. Let's see. Does that help? Doesn't help a great deal. At any rate, doing the best I can here. Let's see if I bring it down some. Does that help? I don't know. It's going to help anyway with light. At any rate, so I have a strainer. Right, this is a tea strainer, or a little mesh strainer. I don't know if it's tea strainer. I'm gonna take my chai off of the stove, and I'm going to pour it. See if I can turn that around some so that you guys can have a better view. I am going to pour it carefully through the strainer, because remember I put all those spices in there. I put the loose leaf tea in there, all the things. Strain it. I'm gonna dump that tea, the loose stuff in there, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. I'm gonna rinse this out, and then my large milk frothing cup, which is essentially what this is, I'm going to strain it into this cup to make sure I got all the little granules out. And as you can see, there's nothing left, or very little left in the strainer. So I'm going to rinse the strainer one more time. And the cup. I'm done with the strainer now. So here is the part, right, where this is both cooling and frothing my chai. So let's see. Right, back in there. And we're just gonna do this until it gets nice and foamy. And I'll show you guys in a minute. It smells wonderful. I can smell all my spices. I think based on smell that it smells sweet enough. These two, the frothing cup I got from here, or a while back on Amazon before I was boycotting Amazon, or shortly after I began. These actual tea making vessels, my godfather brought me from India. So I'm gonna bring you so you can look and see if you can see just how foamy that has become. And now I've got my chai cup. I'm gonna pour it into there as I drip on the, and I've got all of that foam left for the top. I like to get all my foam out, so excuse the shake. And there we are. I'm going to take my napkin and let's see if I can bring you in. I wish you could smell the cinnamon and the cardamom and all the spices. And some folks will still sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon or cardamom just right on top of their cup. Can you see those foamy bubbles in there? Can you see them? Yeah, so that is my morning cup of chai. Normally I will let this sit because it is boiling hot while I clean up my mess. And just so you see what we're straining off, this is all of the loose tea leaves and the cardamom pods and excuse me, cardamom pods and the ginger and the cinnamon stick and all of that. So if you are composting, I would not put this in compost if you're using full fat like dairy milk as I am. If you're using a nut milk, I think without, or a plant-based milk that doesn't have like vanilla and something in it, I think that you could compost it, but don't quote me on it. Look it up. All right, that is the way that I make my chai. So that's how I make my chai. I'm going to sit out and get my son in this morning before I go in to begin the rest of my morning. I shared with you all a little bit about kind of why I sit in the sun, to kind of get the natural vitamin D in my system, and it just makes me feel good to get my body warmed through to the core. So anyway, I hope that this has been interesting to you, to say the very least. Won't drop a hard edit on it. But I do hope that you all will continue to join me for kind of these morning routine clips that I want to do, sharing different facets of my time in the morning. And so if you are interested, I hope that you will hit the like and subscribe button, and certainly click the bell so that you get notifications when I load up something new. Okay, talk soon. Good morning. Well, how are you? You too, love.